All right, we got 5 minutes. Should have been on a little bit sooner so I could draw my levels, but I have work and I'll have a meeting after this, so I was trying to get as much done as I could before I take a little break. Um, wow, okay. So here we are. Let's just draw our levels. So here's 7:30. Nothing drastic happened. Um, Where's the high? Right here, 751 was our high of 30.8. Okay. So this is our high, give or take a couple. Oops. Okay. And then our low. So we're going to be at the low when we open. So I don't know what to do with that information. Because we're going to be at the low on open. So, um, yeah, I mean, I can't even draw the line because, you know what? I'll just draw it here and then I'll move it. Yep, that's what I'll do. I'll draw it here and then I'll move it. Okay. Um, okay. So, whew, yeah, I've been feeling a little anxious to start the week just because, okay, first of all, where's my chart? Oh, here we go. So, there is no news today. There is news tomorrow. There's uh, inflation rates, blah blah blah. There's a lot of news tomorrow. So last night when I was on, I did see there was a lot of momentum. I mean, there were a lot of people in the market. We were up to about 11,000 last night. Let's look at where we were to this morning. So we were up around pre-market, we're climbing from about 6 to 10,000. Then we stayed in 10, 9, 11, 12. We've been dropping coming into the open. So I'm going to make a note of that in my actual notes. These notes. So let's start our notes. I don't know if you can see, but it's Monday, January 12th, 2026. So first we're going to note that we're about to open real quick. Um, that CVD pre pre-market was climbing between 6 and 11 Ks. All right, there's your open. Hold on. So your low is right there. Because now we're in the open. So we came back and tapped it. This is your low. So we're right at the bottom, which is a weird spot to be. I don't know about that. Okay. So we were climbing and then we leveled off and dropped back down to the 6,000s. Okay. PM, PM, so pre-market CVD. Uh, up to 11Ks, then dropping into the open into the 5Ks. So basically what I'm saying is that pre-market, so about an hour before, we were steadily climbing from about in the 6,000s, we climbed all the way up into the tens, and then pre-market, we were all the way up to the 11,000s, right about here, and then we slowly, even here, 11,000s, and then we slowly declined back down to about right before the open, about 5,000s. So that's what we were doing um, pre market. So that's telling me how many people are in the market before, and if those numbers are going up or down. So we're gonna note that there is um, let's see, what did I say? We're coming up, so I'm not gonna touch anything. Where were we? Not there. These economic. Okay, so there's core inflation, inflation rate news. That was my neck popping at 7 a.m. Tomorrow, there's PPI on Wednesday. Okay, the PPI on Wednesday is pretty big, so I'm gonna note those on my, oops, gonna note that. So let's go. Okay, also, can you even see my this? Okay, you can. So note there is inflation news tomorrow at 7:30, and let me say tomorrow and Wednesday is PPI at 7:30. Okay, so we have two major news events this, yeah, because PPI is pretty big, inflation. So we have two major news events. So we're on a day before major news events. Let me do the pre-market range because I didn't write that. I might just keep track of everything on the sticky note, to be honest. Because I can write out a lot more stuff. All right, so here we go. It's not exact, but so we have 350, 357. Okay. Let me type that out here. So we have it. PM range is 357. Okay. And let me just put that in here. PM range is 357. Okay. Ba, 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 ba. So if you notice, we opened right at the bottom. We opened, we tapped the bottom, and then we just kind of went. So things that we're noting, um, the interest, we're still around the 6,000. So it hasn't increased a lot, hasn't decreased a lot. So there's still people in the market. It's not like what day was that? Was that Friday where there was nobody was in the market like at all? There was like in the 200s. It was very low. So um I'm curious to see where we go from here. Let's look back what happened. So this was last night. I was looking last night when we were climbing. I was watching it about here, and I think the last bit I saw was maybe right here potentially when I stopped watching it, and this is when it tipped over. Um, thought I got a message. Okay, so yeah, and then it kind of just moved sideways. We had a high right here, um, which maybe we just came back up to. But yeah, we've been kind of trading in this weird choppy little range. We made a high. Okay, so pre-market, we made a new high from the overnight. Okay, and then we came down. Okay, and then we're kind of settling back. We came back down and we're just kind of within this range still, pretty wide range. Um, so yeah, no decisions can be made at this time. Again, we'll wait for about an hour, watch it, and then if nothing happens, then yeah, we'll call it a day, but at least we're here. Um, so yeah, that's what we're doing. Mhm. Oh, yes. And I did. Okay, so I sent an email to Apex because they sent me two emails on the same day saying one, I broke two different rules. And I was like, what? And so, um, yeah, I was like, what do you mean I broke two different rules? And so I sent them an email and I was like, what are you talking about? Did they apologize? Absolutely not. They were like, oh yeah, we meant to send it on this day. And I'm just like, so the other email that you sent me saying that I made a scaling violation was then incorrect. And they were like, yeah, they didn't say that they made a mistake. They were just like, your actual rule violation was this. And I'm like, I didn't call about my actual rule violation. I called about the thing you said was a rule violation but wasn't. So yeah, I was a little irritated, not irritated. Also, I kind of wish I didn't send that email last weekend because like I said, I want this to be about the process and not the payout. And so now that I'm like, oh wait, so I could still get a payout. Now my brain is like, oh, payout, right? Like my brain's just in you could get a payout mode, and I don't want to be chasing payouts because the second I start thinking about, oh, how much money could I take a payout, and that's when my trading starts getting, that's when I start getting anxious. And I think I was anxious coming in today because I don't know. It's yeah. So I have to repeat my mantra because yeah, which is I'm not proving anything, I'm not escaping anything. Um I'm tilling the ground, planting the seeds. This is just work. It's just work like my job. It's just work. And Colossians 3:23 and other verses, whatever you're doing, you know, work as if you're working for the Lord. And so, bringing your all and doing your best, because you know what, when I log into my job, sometimes I log into a mess. Like this morning I logged into people complaining about stuff that should have been resolved by other people that were not me, but I'm getting emails. So now I have to have a meeting with my team lead, which is something I did not want to do this early in the morning. So, yeah. All of that to say, I don't even know. All of that to say, I I don't know. I just I just got to do my best, and the rest will follow. The rest will follow, but I just got to do my best. Um and so yeah, I can't let couple of bad days and whatnot, get me down. Because you know what? There are things outside of your control. You can't control other people. You can't control the market, and you can't control. The only thing you can have any sort of control over is yourself and your actions. And if you choose not to act, well, then you chose that, right? Um, and then one verse that I read, and this was a good one. One verse that I read yesterday, and it talked about, it was in Proverbs, and it was talking about how if you don't make any plans, or if you don't actually follow through with what you're doing, you may as well just sabotage it yourself. Being lazy is the same as just, actively sabotaging, right? You could be sitting back and doing nothing and still actively sabotaging your life. And how can you say you want something but then you don't actually do the work necessary to get that something? Um yeah, I I don't want to be actively sabotaging my life. I don't, and I can pray for, oh, I want this and that and the third. But if I don't actually do the work and, be diligent, you know, then how am I gonna get anything that I ask for if I won't even be diligent in the small things, such as sitting down and charting some things? It's not hard. So if why why can't I why do I struggle to do the most basicest of things? So yeah, that is why I yeah, that is why I'm here, even though I don't feel like being here. I feel like crawling back into bed and not dealing with anybody today. But yeah, I'm still here. Oops, sorry, buddy. Yeah, me and Pup were up very early. Very early. Yeah, we were up very early, and so after this, I'm gonna take him out, and then I'm gonna get ready for my meeting. Yes, get ready for my meeting, and then hopefully I can meet with my team lead after because she's got some explaining to do. Anyways, so yeah, we're just gonna be chilling in this range, probably. I wonder if this is the larger of the ranges that I've had. I don't know. We're in the 7,000s. I mean, we were on open, we were at 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. A lot more on coming in on selling. Um, but yeah, we're just watching it right now. I was almost certain that we were gonna punch through this because we opened right at the bottom, but we didn't, which is very interesting. Because I don't think I've had a day where we've opened right at the bottom of the range. Yeah, let me pull up my, because we're in the middle right now, so we're not going anywhere for a minute. Let's pull up these screenshots. I wish I could open all of them at once. Open. Hmm. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, so this one we did not. We opened in the middle. That was Monday, January 5th. Um, Yikes. Tuesday, January 6th, we opened near the top, but no, we didn't open at the top. We just opened near it. Um, it was Tuesday. Okay. Skip right to Friday. Oh, that was Friday previously. We actually did right here. We opened. Nope, we didn't open right at the bottom. The bottom was here. We opened and we came directly down to the bottom. This was a smaller range. Okay. Apparently we did not open the other ones. Okay, so the Wednesday, for example, we opened here. We opened in the middle and we chopped around. Okay. And then Thursday, we opened in the middle, chopped around. And then Friday, yeah, look at this. I wrote news tomorrow, worried about participation. Um, Anyways, okay, and then last day, Friday, because there is news tomorrow and the next day. Oh, so this one we opened in the middle. Well, yeah, we opened near the top, actually. We opened very close to the top, not, but we didn't come up to it. We actually pushed down, then went up. And then I said this wasn't a valid break, which is a good thing because it wasn't. Um, and then I also said this wasn't a valid break either because it also wasn't. And then this was a valid break, but there was no clean entry. There was no entry because we came all the way back down. And then this was your more valid break right above this one. And that's where we entered. Okay. So I'm just looking, just seeing what days we've previously opened near the bottom. And then what we did afterwards. Again, I need way more days to collect some kind of to collect data exactly. But if you notice, our 15-minute range, stops still the bottom of our pre-market low, and our opening 15-minute opening range are in perfect sync with each other. So I'm thinking this will be a key level for us to come back to, potentially like a key participation level, because remember, everybody likes to pay attention to pre um everybody likes to pay attention to those pre-market, not pre-market, but those opening range levels. We're not paying attention to it specifically, but we're looking at it. So oops. And I forgot to do one thing. Forgot to log in. Yep. Huh? Well, it's a good thing I went and attempted to log in because I can't. So let me go. Apparently, I gotta go back to Tradeovate and do. Yeah, imagine trying to enter a trade and then you can't because that happened. Okay. So basically, we just have to go and do the add-on again. I think it expires probably on whatever basis, because this has happened before. Okay. Hmm? Crap, I did not want to see my P&L. Okay, where are we? Add-ons, add-ons. Here we go. Hmm? Okay. Back to what I was doing. Okay. There we go. Ooh. Staying steady. Oh yeah, and then I saw on the news something about Powell being under investigation. Um, so I don't know what that's gonna do, because as you know, Powell is you know, the joke. Every time Powell opens his mouth, the market goes up and down. Yeah, he's like the the speaker on, like, is it interest rates or something? I don't know, but whenever Powell is set to speak, the market goes absolutely crazy. You don't want to be in during that time. Um, but yeah, so what I'm seeing right now is we're having a lot of clean movements. It's not all discoordinated and choppy, all completely choppy and a mess. We're having we had a clean push up, a nice pull back, another push up, a nice pull back, a push up, pulling back again. We didn't push as high. So, so yeah, I mean, it's not looking horrible, but we're also just not in a place where we can trade, um, simply because we haven't broken any levels to suggest that we're expanding anything. Yeah, there's nothing to suggest that we're expanding anywhere. So, yeah, I mean, that's just kind of it. The main volume is coming from here, it looks like. There's a lot here as well. Mostly buying? I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to read this. Oh, actually, you can't even see it right there. Um, so yeah, also I just don't like this on my chart because makes it look like it's a mess. If you notice, we don't really have anything on here. We draw two lines. There's this, which technically doesn't need to be there, but I like it to be there so I can see where our 15-minute range is overlapping with our pre-market range. And then, yeah, we literally just sit and do nothing until a level breaks. And it's kind of boring, to be honest. I used to like to watch like Top Steps, YouTube, their Top Step TV. I used to like to watch that, but then sometimes I'd find myself trying to copy their trades, and then I'm like, what am I learning if I'm over here trying to copy these guys' trades and I'm not actually doing anything myself? So, yeah, I remember trading with my brother, and we used to watch, who was it? Patrick somebody, I don't remember. Anyways, Patrick something. And every time he would trade, my brother would be mad because, Patrick's over here trading on the beach making millions. And so he'd get mad. And so whenever Patrick said he was going in long, my brother went short just to prove a point. Yeah, it was, or sometimes my brother would go in long, I go in short just to prove a point. Like I'm like, he's been losing consistently, so if he's going in long, I'm just gonna go in short. And then because he's been losing so much, all he has to do is keep his losing streak, and I do the opposite of what he does. And he would do the same thing for me. He'd do the opposite. He'd do the opposite of what I would do. And then if I was on a losing streak, and then he'd win because he was doing the opposite of what I was doing, which was losing. So, yeah, not a good strategy at all. But the early days, we're still in the 8,000s. So, and still we're not going anywhere. There's a lot of volume, consistent volume, but it's not going anywhere. And that's interesting. What I'd really like to see is a pattern similar to last Friday. What was last Friday? Yeah, I'd like to see a pattern similar to where we have decreasing volume until we break a level, and then the volume just like explodes after that, because that's what happened on and let me go find it. That's what happened on Friday. last Friday, is the second we broke that level, the volume just came rushing in. And I think I noted that. I said, let's bring this over. Yeah, so right here I said, um, first break, yeah. Then I said, extreme low CVD participation, open in 1000s after 15-minute opening range as low. So we opened in here. So all of this was between 50 and like 800. But then after we made this 15-minute range, we were as low as 50 to 800. So we were just extremely low. We had clean moves, sort of, lots of wicks, clean moves going nowhere until finally, after we broke right here, this is where the volume came in after this break. And then you can see that push away, but the volume came after the break. It stayed very low until the break. Very interesting to see that specifically. So I'd like to see something similar where we have low volume, because ultimately, right, I'm looking for patterns where here so that we can chart these things, so we can note all of the things that are happening in the context, right? Because everything happens within a context, and it's not it's not as arbitrary as it looks, right? There's always a context to the moves. And so I say we, me, I'm here to look, because I always keep talking about, oh, the confluences, but I never actually looked for any confluences. So the point is that if the market, right, if the market behaves a certain way within a certain context, then all you have to do is determine what those factors are. What are the, not a catalyst per se, but what, when you do like a risk assessment, what is the risk assessment that creates the perfect conditions for a terrible trade, a terrible day, or a really good day? You want both of those, not just the good and not just the bad. You want to see what's intersecting at each of those days. For example, if we have a pre-news day, right? If it's a pre-news day, which means news tomorrow, right? And it's a major impact news, right? Then what you have is a potential for that to signal, okay, low participation, or we're not committing to any major moves, or we're, I don't know, or whatever, fill in the blank, right? And so, or we could have a day where we had news previously at 7:30, or maybe there's news coming out at 8, or well, not 8, but maybe there's news coming out at like 9:30 or 10 or something like that, or 1 p.m. In cases, Pup, what are you looking for? Pup, that's my mic buddy. Okay, he's smelling for something. Pup, there's nothing there. He thinks there is. Okay. But yeah, it's like, for we're looking for what's happening on these days. What's happening? Because once we determine what's happening, we can start seeing a pattern as to what precedes what's happening. So let's get rid of this. See, we're up in the 9, 8. We're still around the same. We haven't really changed a whole lot. We're about the same. Yeah, so we're right up there, Typically we like to break around like 9. Like if we're chopping like this, we typically like what I've seen last week was that we were breaking around 9:30ish, which is when I was about to sign off. So I don't know if we'll get a break at 9:30. We might, but if we don't, that's okay. I'll still come back and check it. Oh, Pop, you don't want to get down? Pup needs to go outside. I'll still come back and check it. Like if there's no break, I'll still come back and check it after 9 to see what happened. Um, but I'm not gonna, oops, I'm not gonna sit here, you know, past 9 o'clock, past 9:30, because I do have to take Pup out so I can get ready for my meeting, which is gonna take who knows how long. Um, so yeah. Do, 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 do. Normally I have like music playing, but I'm just chilling here. The little pup who's getting held like a baby because he wants to cry like a baby. Yeah, he's the most vocal dog. Okay, so we did break the 15-minute um range. Significant level. Broke the 15-minute range. We're up in the 9,000s. We have a very nice break of the 15-minute. Very nice break of the 15-minute. Key level. Very key level. Especially, especially here. So we're up in the 9 and 10s after that break. So I'm seeing some volume coming. Looks good. Looks great. So we broke that 15-minute and then we're going for it. I think we're trying to come up to that pre-market pre-market high. Let's see if we can get up there before 9:30. We don't stall. We did have if you notice, right? We had a lot of volume coming right after that really big break right here. Even on this tiny little candle, a lot of volume came in. But yeah, once we start nearing the top, that's where you start seeing the volume come in. That's where people are interested. Because if you remember, 15-minute range, that strategy is plastered all over YouTube, everywhere. Um, this strategy is everywhere at 15-minute, 15-minute. So it's not just some uh crack strategy. It's actually useful for good reason, because it is looking for that. But some people, here's why I don't like it, is because to me, 15 minutes is arbitrary, right? Like, what's the significance between a 15-minute range, opening range, 5-minute opening range, 30-minute opening range, first hour? There's all these little different variances of it. 15-minute is the most popular, but I have seen 30-minute and I briefly saw like 5-minute as well. So it's like, how do you choose? How do you choose which one? Um, and that's the thing is like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But um, but it's significant because a lot of people use it to determine direction, exactly, to determine, direction, um, or where they're going to be placing their trades. So that's where a lot of liquidity ends up being. Um, and so even if we were to break this, do we have the potential to come all the way back down, all the way down to here? Possibly. Depends on how aggressively we moved away from it. And it wasn't that aggressive. So, hi, Bubby. Calm down, little guy. But yeah, so we're just waiting, just waiting. Boop. Yeah, and I won't do my screenshot and all of that. So if we don't break or do anything significant by 9:30 on the dot, so in 20 minutes, I will be I have to take Pup out because the meeting is gonna run for who knows how long, and I took him out around 6 and it's now 9. So, yeah, because we were up early. So I will I won't take my screenshot and do my notes until after I come back. And because I have to come back and look at this and actually see what happens after the break. Um, but yeah, I mean, if we're not breaking within the first hour, then I don't know what to tell you. But this is around the time that we started. We had late breaks around like 9:20, 9:22. So this could be one of those late breaks. Every Monday they do yard work. I don't know if you can hear, but there's like a lawnmower, a weed whacker, a leaf blower, everything. Sometimes they cut down trees too, but it's always on Monday. You're a good boy. Pup, where are your toys? Where are they, Papa? It looks like you're gonna need your nails clipped soon, puppy. Oh, wow. Okay. I thought for sure we'd stall right here. Okay. Don't get trigger happy, because this is where it starts getting psychologically challenging, which is one thing I need to work on because I tend to, whenever I start winning, I tend to start sabotaging myself by making sure I don't lose. And in doing so, I create even more losses, minimize wins, and then I mess up my whole self. And that's why I really do not want to look. Pup, you gotta crawl over there, buddy. That's why I really do not want to look at my P&L. I don't want to know. It's not about the money. And like I said, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not getting a payout from this account. One, because either something's gonna happen, or two, Apex is gonna get all stingy. So, I do not expect to get a payout from this account, and I say that, ouch, my ear popped. I say that not to be doubting whatever, but because I actually I don't want to trade to get a payout. I've traded for payouts my whole career, and I've been doing this for almost 2 years now. I've been trading for payouts, and whenever a payout's in sight, it's like I sabotage myself. I remember I would trade Top Step, and the second I got to payout status, like I would take my payout and then my rest of my trading would just collapse. Like it just it collapsed. It was like I got my payout, I got what I wanted, and then I struggled and I was so concerned with keeping the money in the account, right? That I just kind of stopped trading. I sabotaged myself every single time. So yeah, that's what I did. I messed up. Pup, what are you looking for? No, baby. Did you want this? This old bone, Baba? Go get it. Go get it, Baba. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. He didn't really want it. He just wanted to see what was up here. Go, Baba. Go get it. There's nothing else here, Baba. You can't have chocolate. Yeah, I was on a walk last week and he just stopped to eat chocolate cake. Like there was like a it was like a hostess cake or whatever, and he just stopped because I didn't even see the cake. We're walking and next thing I know, he's over here chewing on something, and I'm like, I couldn't see what he was chewing on. So I looked over to where he had just been, and there's somebody couldn't be bothered to throw their cake in the garbage. Like, what? Anyways, yeah, so he's over here munching on some cake, chocolate cake, and I'm just like, oh boy. Yeah, he's fine though. He's fine. Because he's eaten cake before. Well, not cake, it was chocolate, and then the other time it was like an M&M. He was also eating a peppermint stick. Like he loves candy canes. Because when he was like 6 months old, I went to my parents' house for Christmas, and he's over there munching on a candy cane like it's the best thing in the world. And I'm just like, what? Don't tell me. We're not gonna break. We're gonna come all the way back down. Yeah, I don't know. Pup, you gotta go over there, buddy. Okay. It's that time of day. See, impatient me would be looking for a sell right here. Why? I don't know, because I would be. I'd be like, it's not going anywhere. It's time to sell. That's what I would be saying right now. If I wasn't following any rules, I would just be randomly entering a sell. Like if I was paper trading, I'd be like, let's see what a sell would do, which is why we're not paper trading because oh no, I'm tired of strategy hopping. I've been strategy hopping my whole my whole career, honestly. I mean, I've been doing Branko bricks since June of last year, so it's been a minute, but the structure has changed constantly. The filters have changed constantly. The colors of my chart have changed constantly. People think red and green is a psychological thing. Um, and sure, maybe it is. Maybe there's some psychological element to it, but I mean, red and green, there's nothing bad with red or green. You know, people think that, oh, if you see red, it's going to put you in a bad mindset. So they don't make their charts, they don't have any red on their charts because they so associate red with, negative and losing. And so even seeing a red candle, it just messes with their psychology, which I guess, I mean, I can see that happening, but it doesn't really have anything to do with the process. My candles could be effectively all black. It doesn't really change what the process is. But I can also see if you do like to look at red and green and you would prefer to look at green and red stresses you out because red is kind of a stressful color. Like if you like look at blue, like if a room is blue, you're kind of like, okay, calming. You think of the ocean, you think of a body of water and just maybe chilling by the pool somewhere or a fountain. Like blue just has calmness. Like maybe you're just looking up at the blue sky and it's just clear. I'm actually looking at the sky right now. It's actually quite pretty. But my point is, blue has a calming effect, right? Like the blue of this buy button, calming. But then you see red and then you're just like, oh no. Yeah, that's where the stress comes in, is at these colors. So there's an element to it, but I also don't think that it's gonna make you a better trader to have your chart one color or the next. But I do like messing with the colors, but I think every single time I changed my strategy, I always changed, or every single time I changed my approach, I always changed the chart because I thought like, okay, if I change the chart, then, it's putting me in that different mindset, but it's really not about the chart. And but sometimes it helped, it did help to um it did help to change the chart so that I wasn't like, if let's say I was trading my UT bot signals, I used to do that. I was trading UT bot signals. My chart was black and blue. But if I don't want to be trading UT bot signals anymore, I don't really want to be trading black and blue anymore. So I changed the colors to signify that it's not just that it's a full change. Everything's changing, kind of like how when you have a breakup, maybe you kind of like how maybe when you have a breakup, you go and you go get a piercing or a tattoo or dye your hair a different color because you're all like, I'm gonna do something different, right? Um, Sometimes a physical change helps to internalize a mindset shift. Okay, where were we? Bum, 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 bum. Okay, my bad. Huh? Okay. This is one of those wow moments. So yeah, we're about 8 minutes left, and then we will be going. How have I been on my phone for 4 hours this morning? I definitely was not. See how we came right back down to the top of this? Yeah. 44 degrees is horrible. Feels like 39. Remind me to wear my coat outside. See, that's the other thing. I don't know if I need to have a rule that says, hey, if we don't break within the first hour, then it's a no trade day. Because that could also be the case too. If we don't break within the first hour, no trade. Um, and simply because, we could be trading into, noon and all that later. But, and that's not the issue. It's more, pup, what are you chewing on? Oh, I guess he did want that bone. I was gonna throw that away. Okay. Um, yeah, I got that for him when we were in Idaho months ago. Probably, no, I think I got that for him on his birthday when he turned 1. I got that for him back in July. So, yeah, he's had that for a minute. Pup, you don't want me to throw your bone away? Okay. But yeah, so I'm still gonna come back. I'm still gonna um chart whatever happens. But if nothing happens within the first hour, that might even be another thing that we say, okay, if nothing happens within the first hour, there's no trade. But hey, maybe breaks after the first hour are more relevant than the ones before. I don't know that. So, again, just gathering data, but it looks like it's going to be a no trade for me because we're at 9:25. Zazio is staring at me with his adorable little eyes, and I need to take him out and give him time to walk around before I have to go to my meeting. So we're still in the 9 and 10 thousands. So I mean, The volume is still there. It's just not moving the market significantly in one direction or the other. It's really stayed within this range, um, and this high that we created. So yeah, we're just kind of in this range, and we have 5 minutes. And if I get a break at 5 minutes before I'm supposed to go, which I'm probably, ooh, I might get that break. 4 minutes to go, slight break. That's not a break. It has to significantly push above and close significantly above, more than, I'm gonna say more than 5 or 6 ticks above, not right on the line. And we spiked. We are not closing. Volume is there. We're not closing above. We're back below. So you gotta ask, this candle on this end has to close above, and then it has to continue with a pullback. We got our pullback, but we only spiked above. That doesn't count. Doesn't count. We just wicked. And I have 3 minutes. Let's mess around for 3 minutes, shall we? Not, please. Anyways, this might, if I was not following my rules and I was paper trading, I would look for a green probably here, simply because of a couple things actually. We came back to this, but we'll see. We'll see what happens, because we didn't, that's not an entry. A break with no entry. This is the longest 3 minutes ever. Goodness. Okay. Yeah. All right. That would be my entry if I wasn't following my rules, but I am, so we're not entering. Because the rule is it has to break and hold to be a significant push, and we're not getting that. And let me just zoom in so we can all see what's happening. Yep, see, that would have been my entry, and it would have been incorrect, probably. See, so you can see that we broke and wicked. We have 2 minutes. Why is the time dragging on so long? Almost done, buddy. Once he starts pacing, you're like, okay, we gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. 1 more minute, little guy. Whenever he wants to play, he brings me a specific toy. Like, it's a specific little thing. Here you go, buddy. Right there. Right there. Okay, we're coming back up. Coming. Still in the 10,000s. Volume's holding steady. All right, buddy. Ready? Hey. Go get him. Coming up to it again. Right up there. Now we're on the line. We just came back below. Okay, we rejected it again, possibly. Most likely. Definitely. This one might break. And we have a clean break, and no, we do not. It is now 9:30. Time for me to go. Yeah, I don't want to sit here and watch this mess around, although it's right there. It took long enough, but it's right there. What I will do is one of two things. First, we'll go to Tradovate and we will log out of Tradovate. We're not trading after 9:30. so that I don't accidentally press anything. I'm going to leave this up, okay? Going to leave this up, and yeah, I might just leave this running, to be honest. Yeah, might just leave this running just like that, and then you can see what happens for yourself. So I can see what happens real time, and I can also play it back if necessary. Um, but also, I don't think this is not a trade day for me, because we're already past the mark, and we've rejected this multiple times. So it is a no. How do you find these things? Okay, so we have rejected multiple times, so it is a significant level if we're rejecting off of it, but at the same time, I'm not going to wait around for it to finally break the level and then manipulate around the level. So we're also, what are we? We're pre-news today, and so there actually might not be a lot of commitment to any one direction, and I don't want to get caught in that trap. So I'm going to call this done right now. I'll come back after my meeting, and we'll see what happened. Oh dang, I'm here. I'm literally here. Okay, so we have our break. We're 4 minutes past. You can't trade. I literally cannot trade. And I also, when did we break? We broke here, and we pulled back. We didn't create. Okay, so I'd be looking for a pullback, okay, and then a continuation, because that was a significant break, very significant. I'd be looking for a pullback and a continuation. However, I gotta take the dog out. I have a meeting. Um, oh, there's your pull potentially. Potentially, I said. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it does not pull, but I still have to go. Unfortunately. Keep watching. All right, I literally have my work computer in one hand. I was outside with the dog, and then I was watching the trade in on my phone while I was watching the charts. So what you have is you have this big push. Remember, that's what we saw right before we left. And then we get chopped around, we popped up here, we had a pullback. This was your entry right there. You would have gotten two. You would have gotten two ticks out of there. So it wouldn't have been, I typically target three. You would have got something. It didn't immediately turn around, which is what's good, is that it didn't immediately turn around. But, yeah, geez, the meeting's starting. Okay. Yeah, I'll come back to this and talk a little bit more. Um, but yeah, if you notice, we're just kind of chopping right on the line, right? So it was a significant level, but it's a significant level to chop around instead of just easily glide off of like we did with the 15-minute range. So this would have still counted. I would say this would still be good, but we're not calculating whether or not it was a win or a loss. We're calculating what it does during these time frames. And what we saw is we have a pre-market day. Not pre-market. We have a pre-news day. There's two major news days that are coming up, and so we have a lot of volume, but also a lot of chop that's been going on. Um, a lot of chop. And so are not respecting this level as well as we should have, especially the fact that we're bouncing around on it. So that's just something to note, right? Again, maybe this is pointing to we don't trade at the beginning of a week or the start of a major news week. I don't know, but that's just it's data. It's not the end of the world. So yeah, um, because all of these. Okay, I gotta get into my meeting. Okay, so as you can see, well, what happened? So, yeah, I was kind of watching this a little bit as I was in my meeting. So, I did see another very clean break. And then we chopped around for quite a bit. We did come down, we got our pullback, um, and then we ended up pushing up. So we created that green brick right here, and then that's where it was kind of like, are we gonna go? Are we gonna go? Are we gonna go? And then we ended up going. But now we're stalled again. We've stalled quite a bit. And with all of this volume, I mean, look at all the volume. We're in the 12,000s now. So I'm going to draw some arrows, note what happened. But we did not trade this. So this was your first clean break right here. Okay. So we get our first clean break off the pre-market high. And then we're going to draw a circle right here because this is where we get our first pullback and entry right in here. So this is where, and so I had to play back what happened because I wasn't actually here when it did. We're coming all the way back down again, as you can see. But yes, so what we had happen, and honestly, let's roll the tape. Where is, oh, this is live. I'm watching it live too. Okay, so let me pull up let's pull up the actual video and see what happened so I can talk about it real time. Let's go to YouTube. It's funny watching my live while live. Okay, so let's go to me. Where is the live video? Okay. All right, so let's bring this over and then let's go back. The quality is not there. 1 second. Oh, 1 second. Okay. Mm. Oh, goodness. Oh. Okay, wait. So, hold up while I think for a minute. Okay. Yeah, it's at 720. Meanwhile, the quality is terrible. Okay, whatever. So now let's just. Now I'm seeing like picture in picture. It's getting kind of weird. Okay, so let's go back to that first break that happened, which was right. When was that? I don't know. Let's go back here. Mm-hmm. Nope. Keep going back. Okay, here, right here. All right, so we had that first break, the first big break. So right here, can I even see this on my screen? Yes, I can. Let's, can't zoom in. Nope, definitely cannot zoom in. I could, maybe. No, it doesn't like me. It doesn't like me. Okay, hopefully you can slightly see some stuff. Okay. Maybe make it a little small. I said a little smaller. Okay. There. That should 1 second. Let's move this over. Okay. Okay. So this is what we're seeing. Is this playing? Okay, now it is. Okay, so now you can kind of see we pumped up. Ugh, so difficult. Okay, so we pumped up So this was your first break. So this is where you're watching after this point. Okay. Um, Significant break. We start doing this. You're waiting for that pullback. So now I'm thinking, okay, the pullback should happen soon. Should. Don't get it just yet. All right, so there's your pullback. So now you're looking for a green brick up. That's all. So waiting for a green brick up. So we're looking right here, remember. Okay. We almost created one. We almost did for like a brief, and then we didn't. Um, Technically, we did. So, I mean, technically, if this had actually formed like it should have, your green brick would have been there. This is where you would have formed your first green brick because of that. And if I had seen that, I might have entered, but let's wait for the brick to actually form. Okay. But that would have been a green brick right there, but it just didn't actually form. Okay, so there's your first one. You're entering. Okay. So that's where you would enter right here. I mean, you'd be in drawdown. You'd be in drawdown. Probably being about 14, 17 ticks of drawdown, depending on when you entered. Okay. Struggling. Price is struggling. Finally get a little push above. We'd be up 5 ticks, 8, 14. Math 20, 25, 28. Probably would have almost hit. Okay, so depending on the entry, might have stopped, might have taken us. Oh, okay, might have taken us out. Again, it depends on the entry that you got. Because if you had entered immediately, you might have got put in the middle. Should have been better. But yeah, so that was it technically sort of kind of profitable? Yes, but then it comes all the way back down and then you watch what happened, you know. It came all the way back down and then we had to deal with all of this chop nonsense that happened. We just came back to this level again. So we keep coming right back to the top. So I'm just gonna note that I was watching it and as I was in my meeting, oops, and I saw this break that just happened and then we got another pullback, but this was a very choppy pullback. It wasn't a clean break, pull, continue. It was a break, chop sideways. Um, it did continue briefly, um, you know, and then it chopped again, and now it's all the way back down. So volume stayed steady the whole time between 10 and 12,000. So yeah, I'm gonna take some notes. Gonna take some notes, and then I'm gonna call this. When was this break that happened? 9:33, and this one that happened here was at 10 o'clock. Okay. A million dreams, it's all it's gonna take. All right, time to write a paragraph. Okay. Okay, so first break was clean. Yeah, first break was clean. Pull back was added. What? No. Okay, entry of pullback. Small. But still weak. CVD stayed steady. 10 to 12K. Oops, 12Ks. um, Second clean break was a little late in the game. About 10. The was long. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's long. 8 mins. But still nice. Continuation. Short-lived. And then I'll take another note. Reacted more cleanly to 15 min or I'm also going to note this is a new high. This is a new high. I think, and this is my final thoughts. You know, I'm gonna write my thoughts on my sticky note actually. Here we go. Let's go to the sticky note. Ending thoughts. The okay. Market participation, market. How do you spell market? Participation was steady after each break. No major jumps in CVD. All of this is a is before inflation rates on Tuesday and PPI on Wednesday. We are also at a we also made a high, a new high pre-market, and there is clear chop around that PM high level. I said H for some reason. PM high level. Okay, so all right, so any thoughts? The market participation was steady. It was, we stayed, it dipped a little bit right before the open, but then, and then it continued to climb. Even around here, after our breaks, we stayed steady between 10 at 11. But the problem that I keep seeing is that, oh, look, a nice pull, maybe. Anyways, the problem that I keep seeing is that we come up to this level and then we just start chopping. We break it and then we start chopping. We come back to it and then we start chopping. And then we break it and then we start chopping. And then we move away from it a little bit more and then we chop and we come all the way back down to it, chop, and then break down into the range again. So we're reacting off this level clearly, but not in the way that we want it to. Now, would this have been slightly profitable? Yes. Would this have been slightly profitable? Yes. Nothing huge, nothing ginormous, but it still would have been slightly profitable. But the point is, we're not looking at what it would have made. We're looking at what it actually did. And what it did is it chopped and it chopped and it chopped. So that's going to be my notes for the end. Gonna take our screenshot because you can't see everything, but I can see on my screen. Let's move this here so it's not blocking. So yeah, this was your first break pullback entry. It technically went. This was your second break pullback entry, and I only marked the second one because I was actually sitting here watching it versus this one. I came in hindsight. This one was obviously better, but now look at us. We're going all the way back down. And technically, this would have created another red brick. It should have created another red brick, in which case, when it came back up 10 and then came back up 20, this would have been the entry. So you actually would have gotten your 10, 20, 30. You would have, but that doesn't really matter. Now we're right back down to the top of the 15-minute range. We came back to it. Looks like we're respecting the 15-minute range better than we're respecting the better than we're respecting the okay, yeah. Looks like we're respecting the 15-minute range better than we're respecting our pre-market high. And that's just from this. We broke it, we cleanly came back into it, and then came out of it, came back down, touched it, went out of it, came back down to it. But again, no trade. Let's just also, you can't see my mouse on this side because yeah, but it's okay because I just need a screenshot and then I'm good to go. Let's hit save. Let's take a picture. Download image. Okay. And let's just go here so we can name our stuff and then we can be done with this. Downloads. Copy. Wait, yes, copy. Okay. So we got Monday, January 12th. All right. I'm still waiting for my team lead to call because we need to discuss some things. But as far as I'm concerned, today's trading session is over.